ending this! This is the end.
Alright everyone, JB here. We're back with another Dragon Ball Z on the channel today. Now today, really quick, we're going to talk about some personal, characters that I think that can get either in Zenkai or just some form of a Plat equip to kind of give them that buff, to kind of compete in the meta that we're going to probably, go into, because PvP season just ended. We already know what we're probably going to get for part 1 anniversary. Universe Rep has something to do with that, but there is still a really good chance that we're going to see something else for part 1, which I'm hoping for, because then, it's going to be pretty boring if it's 2 separate units, just like they did for Festival. So we're going to kind of talk about that. We're going to keep it limited to certain LF characters and Ultra characters. So with that being said though, if you're new around here, just still leaving a like on the video and join the channel. It's very much appreciated. If you enjoyed the video for today, drop a like down below. As always, welcome. I appreciate it. Now, first things first, we already know that Universe Rep is getting buffed. Now, if I had to look at some characters, we have to pull this up for you guys. If I had to look at some characters to get a Zenkai from this tag specifically, the first one has to be the OG MUI. It makes, even though I didn't really enjoy playing against this guy, I mean, every UI or MUI has some of the similar mechanics. They're always on the dodge. That's just built into how the character is. But this is a much requested Zenkai for a while, and I really think that I'm a bit concerned too, because with the recent with them dropping new characters and everything, I know it doesn't apply to him, but I'm a bit concerned about the new characters, and they're going to need something to help them build a solid team. So you go ahead and give this guy a Zenkai. I'm pretty sure they're going to drop some form of a Plat equip to go alongside the new units. Most of the time they do that. It's pretty, simple. That's how they always do most of the units. He already has a good solid amount of equips you can put on him. Give him a solid, something to help his kid out, get him back into the modern meta. He's good. Another one I was talking about is Goku and Frieza. Now this one, it feels like it's a little less likely than MUI. I'm putting this one out there simply because it's a tag character. It's either one or two things. They either give them a Plat equip or they give them a Zenkai. And if we want to really look at like Legends Limited characters that are Zenkai, pull this up for you guys, that are tag units, we only got 2. I remember the Blue Duo, they were the first they were the first tag duo to get a Zenkai. And then it was this, the Blue Bros right here. So if they decide to do something like that and give it to Goku and Frieza, that would be the 3rd tag unit, because we haven't really got too many of those as Zenkais, LF Zenkais. So it's either a Plat equip for these guys or, Zenkai. But either way, some shape or some way, you're going to have to buff these guys. It's important, because if it already looks like they're trying to put in some buffs for Universe Rep, and to be honest, like I said, I'm already kind of worried about the new units, because at the end of the day, I'm hoping they don't water down the like the unique kits for them. I hope they don't water it down too much, because they've already said they're kind of gonna keep the kits based on how the character is. So if it's let's say a hard-hitting type of character, that's kind of how they're going to build their kit around. If they're maybe like a more of a defensive character, something like that. If they're a support character, that's basically how they explained it in short form of how they want to do things. So they don't want to give characters all different type of stuff all the time. But here is another character I wanted to talk about as well. He doesn't have his own personal Plat equip. There's a lot of Ultras, well, not a lot, but there's a couple that already has their own Plat equips, and I'm not talking about these right here. So if we're talking about like actual Plat equips, if you look at Kaioken and Goku, he got his before it hit. So I'm talking about these right here. Whenever they drop these, they normally give it to us for free, like all the way maxed out, which I love for that. The only thing I kind of hate is they added like a different slot for where if you have to have a character at 7 stars or higher, so basically 2 copies. So if you don't, you're not getting the full benefits of everything that's in that, you know, that you need to equip, which sucks. But at the end of the day though, it's still good that they're giving them, you know, these equips out for free. Because if you have to grind all that, that's a lot. It's already horrible as it is with the equipment system. So yeah, hit is another option that I would love to see personally for something to get buffed. If it was to be from Universe Rep. Now, every anniversary, you know, festival, we're gonna see probably at least, it's always gonna be an LO Zenkai, but we're gonna see at least probably 2 if they're, you know, trying to build that hype of putting the right characters for those Zenkais. We're gonna see a couple characters get some Plat equips. Besides like the new Plat equips that come with the new characters, there's gonna be some out there, you know, for certain LF characters, maybe an Ultra. You know, it would be nice if they do that, because let's say like the characters aren't that good. Let's say they do the same thing, we get 2 separate characters. It's gonna suck. Now, if they decide to give us 2 separate characters, or they decide to give us, you know, a tag unit like I mentioned before, and they give us something else like a Gogeta. A Gogeta was something really talked about, and the hope of him being in the anniversary is really high. I'm saying that because they're not going to do too well without a fusion. It's always been a fusion somewhere in the anniversary, bit celebrations, the festival. Vegito seems unlikely this time, because, you know, we just recently got one, which is why Gogeta felt like he's the one that we're all talking about right now. So, we're looking at movies. I do have a couple here. Some of these were just random that I kind of put out there. Now, if I can find them for you guys, but one of them was the OG Super Saiyan 2 Gohan from the BoJack movie. Now, I don't know if he got any form of a Plat equip, like a personal Plat equip, but yeah, it doesn't look like it. But from, you know, this guy is overdue. He's way overdue for a Zenkai. And if you're gonna give some type of, you know, buffs for movies, obviously, same thing goes with Universe Rep. You're gonna want to build some solid foundations around, you know, or just give us some Zenkais, you know, some good Zenkais that we've all been waiting for. We've all been talking about it, and I hope hopefully they do something with that, right? Because when we look at that, we got this guy, right? Broly recently got his Zenkai last year. Goku got his Plat equip earlier this year, I believe. And you know, it's like, we look at movies, it's not the worst tag, but there definitely can be some buffs here and there, right? Gogeta got his Zenkai, we know that as well. Cooler was another option that I was thinking, you know, he's overdue for a Zenkai. So let's say, for example, we don't get a Gogeta, right? They tend to give us, let's say they give us a Broly. A Broly was talked about as well. We could probably get a new Super Broly, whether he's an Ultra or he's an LF. You're gonna want to, you know, keep it, you know, powerful opponent theme. So probably give, you know, Cooler a Zenkai. Besides Cooler, I don't really know. Let me see. Sometimes this website, it glitches. So you guys have to apologize. You know, I apologize for that, but it happens, right? But besides, you know, like Cooler and let's say, who else did I mention? Gohan. If we're looking at Plat equips, only ones that come to mind for me, I have a couple options. So if we go down here, go right here for you guys. Got this Gogeta right here. You know, if we get a new Gogeta, you can probably keep it Heroes themed. This guy, I wouldn't say he's not as old, but he's about 2 years old now. I know that for a fact. He doesn't really have his own personal Plat equip either, so why not, you know, go ahead and give it to him. Now, will all these units get their Zenkais? And they're not. Like, from all these characters that I'm listing for you guys, maybe 2 of them might get a Zenkai, and then maybe another 2 might get a Plat equip. We'll be lucky if we even get 1, because looking at previous anniversaries, we've always gotten at least, you know, they've kind of upped it a little bit. It's been 2 LF Zenkais. Sometimes it might be 1, and then they kind of just spread out more different buffs in different areas. Same thing for this Gohan. He doesn't, you know, he has some really good equips, but again, OG beats Gohan. he's gonna get buffed somewhere in this, you know. Gohan's his favorite character, Toshi's favorite character, so he always gets buffed every couple months. Whether it's a new character, maybe a Zenkai, give this guy a Plat whip. You know, it's like some of these options I'm just putting out there based on, so these are the 2 tasks that I'm really focused on seeing coming into the game. So personally speaking, you know, for part 3, we don't know if it's going to be an ultra or an LF, because part 1 could possibly be an ultra as well. So those are my top options. I think that these guys, you know, they can all use a Plat whip. If I had to mention one more person as an extra, you know, maybe a bonus, maybe it'd be like Janemba. Same thing I mentioned before with Cooler. If we get like a Broly, they can keep it powerful opponent themed and give us another buff for someone else that's powerful opponent. Pretty simple. This guy doesn't have a Plat whip for an ultra as well. He's overdue. You can definitely use it. But besides that, you know, that's pretty much it. You know, I didn't want this video to be super long, but kind of wanted to talk about that because, you know, anniversary is coming up this weekend. 3 days, well, 2 days now when this video rolls up for you guys. So besides that though, let me know what you guys think personally. What characters would you like to see get a buff in terms of a Zenkai? You know, maybe they get some new characters that kind of helps them, you know, be better on a certain team. But besides that though, you know, that's pretty much it for this video. Pretty simple. As always, everyone have a blessed day. It's your boy JB. I'm out.